All right, get ready for this one because today we're going deep, deep into the world of a true Hollywood legend, Al Pacino.
Absolutely.
And wow, we've got a lot to cover.
Yeah.
A whole stack of biographies, film databases, you name it.
He's had such a fascinating career, too.
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing. You know, he really became this household name.
Right.
But he always stayed true to his, to his artistic side,
Totally, and that's what we're going to uncover today.
Yeah.
So Al Pacino, born Alfredo James Pacino back in 1940. Tell us about his early life. Where did it all begin?
So East Harlem, born and raised, a real melting pot of cultures, as you know. But Pacino himself, 100% Italian.
Wow.
And proud of it, too.
I bet, especially with his most famous role, right?
Exactly. I mean, you can't make the stuff up.
Right.
His grandparents.
Yeah.
They emigrated from Corleone, Sicily.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just like in The Godfather.
You should be kidding me.
And then, his father's side of the family, they were from Naples.
Really?
So, yeah, I mean, like you said.
Some lineage.
It's almost like, it's meant to be, right?
It's crazy how these things happen.
It is. And he's talked about his, how important his Italian heritage is to him. Like, he said, I'm all Italian, I'm mostly Sicilian, and I have a little bit of Neapolitan in me. So it's really a part of who he is.
Yeah, for sure.
On and off the screen.
Yeah, so it wasn't all, sunshine and roses for him in the beginning, right?
Oh, no, not at all.
What was his childhood like?
So his parents, they actually divorced when he was just 2 years old.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah. And he ended up being raised by his mom's parents in the South Bronx.
Right.
Which, I don't have to tell you, it was a pretty tough neighborhood back then.
Yeah, I can imagine that definitely had an impact on him.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, he's even said that, that those years, like, really shaped how he sees the world.
Interesting.
Human struggles, all of that.
How did he find his way into acting then? I mean, from this background.
It's interesting, right? Well, he actually dropped out of almost all his classes in school, except for English, which is kind of ironic.
Yeah.
Given how well-spoken he is now,
Oh, boy.
But yeah, so how did he find acting? Well, they used to call him the actor as a kid.
Wow.
I mean, talk about foreshadowing. He loved movies. He would reenact scenes for his friends.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he'd completely lose himself in the characters.
Wow. So it sounds like he was destined for this.
It seems like it.
So, but he actually did get some formal training, right?
He did.
High school performing arts.
Yep, that's right.
Okay, so.
It's incredible. He actually had to audition to get in.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, and that's where he really started honing his craft.
Okay.
And then later on, he went to HB Studio and studied with this legendary guy, Charlie Lawton.
Oh, wow. Big name.
Oh, huge.
Yeah.
I mean, Charlie Lawton, a real giant in the acting world.
Yeah, so what was it like for him studying under Lawton?
Well, Lawton, I mean, he saw something special in Pacino, right?
Okay.
He really encouraged his unique approach to acting. And I think that really laid the groundwork for his later success.
At the Actor Studio.
Exactly, the Actor Studio.
Yeah, so the Actor Studio, I mean, legendary. Right, so many huge actors have come out of there.
Oh, yeah.
What was it about the Actor Studio that really, appealed to Pacino?
Well, they were all about method acting there,
right.
Under Lee Strasberg. Yeah. And Pacino has said that, that experience was it was transformative for him. He said the studio, really launched him.
Yeah.
And that Strasberg's teaching was, like, unlike anything he'd ever experienced before.
Huh. That's amazing. So it wasn't all easy for him, though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, during this time, I imagine he must have had some struggles.
He did. He really did.
Yeah.
He was, working odd jobs, trying to make ends meet.
Right.
There was even a time when he was homeless,
Wow. That's, that's really tough to hear, considering where he ended up.
Yeah, it's like that classic rags to riches story, right?
Yeah. But I think those early struggles, they really fueled his determination.
Makes sense.
So before we get to Hollywood, let's talk about his early days on stage.
Okay, yeah.
He made a name for himself in theater first, right?
He did. So he started off Broadway.
Okay.
And his performance in The Indian Wants the Bronx back in 1968, that was a real turning point for him.
Interesting.
He won an Obie Award for that.
Oh, wow. Which is a pretty big deal for off-Broadway productions.
Right. So it sounds like things were starting to look up for him.
Definitely, yeah. And it was also around this time that he met Jill Clayburgh,
okay,
who,
They ended up being partners for several years. And they were both, kind of rising stars in the theater scene at that point.
Wow. Okay. And then came his big Broadway debut.
Yeah. Does a tiger wear a necktie?
Wow.
That's when he won a Tony Award.
That's huge.
Oh, yeah. The highest honor you can get in theater.
Yeah. So what was it about his performance that really caught people's attention?
He just had this incredible stage presence,
Right,
just electrifying. People were captivated by him.
That's amazing.
And it was no surprise then that he caught the eye of Martin Bregman, who became his manager and really helped launch his film career.
Wow. So it's interesting how his stage success really paved the way for his Hollywood breakthrough.
Yeah, absolutely. Like he conquered one world and then moved on to the next.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk about that transition to film.
Okay.
His first role was a small part in 1969, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But then came his breakout role in The Panic in Needle Park.
Yeah, 1971.
1971.
That's the one that put him on the map.
What was it about that role that made it so pivotal for him?
Well, he played this heroin addict.
Okay.
And it was raw.
Yeah.
It was intense, and it really grabbed the attention of Francis Ford Coppola.
Oh, wow.
Who, as you know, was casting for this little film called The Godfather.
Yeah, okay, here's where it gets really interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, The Godfather, it wasn't just a role for him,
Yeah.
It was like a cultural phenomenon.
Oh, yeah.
And, his performance as Michael Corleone, this, reluctant heir to a mafia empire, it became iconic,
Yeah, and I think a lot of people don't know this, but Coppola really had to fight for him to get that part.
Oh, yeah.
The studio execs.
Yeah, they wanted a big name.
Yeah.
They didn't see Pacino as a leading man at that point.
Wow.
But Coppola, he saw something special,
Right.
And thank goodness he stood his ground.
Yeah. I mean, look what happened.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
I mean, people still study that performance in acting schools today. It's amazing.
Yeah, but there was a little bit of controversy around his Oscar nomination for that role.
Oh, yeah, there was, yeah.
What happened there?
So he got nominated for Best Supporting Actor,
Okay.
even though he had more screen time
Right.
than Marlon Brando, who,
Who won Best Actor?
Yeah, for playing Don Vito Corleone.
Yeah.
And Pacino just felt like, was kind of a snub.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, and so he actually boycotted the ceremony.
Oh, wow.
In protest.
That's a bold move, especially for someone who's, relatively new to Hollywood at that point.
Yeah, it shows you, he wasn't afraid to stand up for himself.
Yeah, for sure.
He had this, real commitment to his craft and to, what he felt was right.
Right. So after The Godfather,
his
career just exploded.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he went on to star in Serpico.
Amazing movie.
In 73.
Yeah, playing that real-life undercover cop,
Right.
fighting corruption in the NYPD.
Yeah, it's an incredible story.
It is.
And, his performance was it was electrifying.
So intense.
Yeah, and he really immersed himself in that role, right?
Yeah, he actually spent a lot of time with the real Frank Serpico.
Really?
Yeah, to try to understand him, his mannerisms, his mindset, everything.
Wow, so he became known for that intensity,
right.
that ability to just convey such raw emotion on screen.
Absolutely. And then, of course, he follows that up with The Godfather Part 2.
Oh, yeah.
In 74. Back as Michael Corleone.
Right. And what was interesting about this one?
Well, this time you see Michael, really descending into darkness.
Okay.
He consolidates his power and becomes even more ruthless,
It's chilling to watch.
It is. I mean, Newsweek said his performance showed the hardening of a heart.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to describe it.
And you see those subtle shifts in his character.
Right.
It's almost like watching his soul just erode away.
Yeah, it's really, it's heartbreaking in a way.
It is. And he got another Oscar nomination for Best Actor.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, that really cemented his status as one of the greats.
Okay, so then came Dog Day Afternoon.
Oh, Dog Day Afternoon. Yeah, that was 75.
75, based on a true story, right?
Right. It was, about this bank robbery that just goes completely wrong.
Right.
And Pacino plays Sonny Wurtzek, who's this, desperate man trying to get money for his lover's gender reassignment surgery.
Yeah, it's an intense movie.
It is. And in that one, you really see his range. You know, he can play the tough guy, but he's also, you know, vulnerable, emotionally fragile. It was another Oscar-nominated performance.
Wow.
And the film itself is, you know, considered a classic.
Totally. And it's fascinating that he turned down the lead role in Kramer versus Kramer that year, which, of course, went to Dustin Hoffman, who won an Oscar for it.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think that says a lot about Pacino. He wasn't just chasing awards. He was looking for roles that challenged him, you know.
That pushed him.
Yeah, that let him explore, you know, the complexities of being human.
Right. So the 70s were really a golden age for him.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he was at the top of his game, delivering these incredible performances.
One after the other.
But the 80s brought some new challenges.
They did.
And, of course, some triumphs as well. Yeah, the early 80s were a bit of a mixed bag, I guess you could say.
Right.
Cruising and author, you know?
Yeah.
They weren't exactly hits.
Yeah, well, I mean, everyone
has missteps.
Their missteps.
Even the legends.
Right, and then came Scarface.
Oh, Scarface.
1983.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
An ultimate gangster movie.
It really is, yeah.
With Pacino as Tony Montana.
Right, that Cuban drug lord.
Yeah, it was...
controversial when it came out.
Yeah, very controversial.
People thought it was too violent, too graphic.
But it's become a cult classic.
It really has, yeah. I mean, people love that movie.
Yeah, so what do you think it is about that film that really resonated with people?
I think... You know, it's partly Pacino. I mean, he just brings this incredible charisma to the role.
Right.
And the movie itself, you know, it's very stylish. It's over the top.
Right.
But it's mesmerizing to watch.
Yeah, and he really embodies that character, you know.
Oh, he does, yeah.
Tony Montana's ambition, his ruthlessness.
His downfall.
Everything.
Yeah, I mean, he really goes all in.
So after Scarface...
Yeah.
He took a break from film for a few years.
He did. He went back to the stage.
Right. Back to his roots.
Yeah. You know, he was in American Buffalo. Yeah. And he even directed a film called The Local Stigmatic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I think he just needed to, you know... Recharge. Yeah. Go back to what he loved.
So the stage has always been his first love.
I think so, yeah. It's where he feels most comfortable, most at home.
Yeah, but he did return to Hollywood in 1989.
He did, yeah.
With Sea of Love.
Oh, Sea of Love, yeah. That was a good one.
It was a solid comeback, right?
Yeah, it showed, you know, he still had it.
That he still had that presence, that charisma.
Absolutely.
And then came the 90s.
The 90s, oh yeah.
The decade that finally brought him that Oscar.
That's right.
That he'd been, you know, sort of waiting for.
The 90s were a really interesting time for him. He did all kinds of different roles, you know. He was in The Godfather Part 3, of course, went back to Michael Corleone.
Yeah.
But then he also showed, you know, his comedic side in Dick Tracy.
Oh, yeah, Big Boy Caprice.
Yeah, exactly.
That was a great performance.
Yeah, and of course, we can't forget Scent of a Woman.
Scent of a Woman, the one that finally got him that Oscar.
That's right, Best Actor.
Yeah. I mean, that was a powerful performance.
It really was. He played Lieutenant Colonel Frank Slade.
Yeah, that blind retired Army officer.
It was masterful. You know, he completely embodied that character, the cynicism, the vulnerability, the desire for connection. You know, it's a powerful film, and his performance is just, it's deeply moving.
It really is. And it's amazing that in the same year, he was also nominated for Best Supporting Actor.
Right. For Glenn Ross.
Yeah. Ricky Roma, that ruthless salesman.
Yeah. Talk about range.
I mean, 2 Oscars in the same year.
It's incredible.
Different categories.
Yeah, it's so rare.
Really shows his versatility.
Absolutely, yeah. And the 90s were just packed with these memorable Pacino performances.
It really was. I mean, Carlito's Way, Heat.
Oh, yeah. Heat.
Head-to-head with De Niro.
That was epic.
And even, I mean, he played Satan himself.
Right, in The Devil's Advocate.
I mean, come on.
He was on a roll, you know, picking these roles that really let him showcase that intensity and just delve into these complex characters.
Right, and he wasn't afraid to do more subtle roles either, you know?
Yeah, like in The Insider, he played Lowell Berkman.
Right, that 60 Minutes producer.
It was a different kind of role for him.
Right.
But he was great in it.
Totally. And he even went back behind the camera again, right?
He did, yeah. He directed and starred in Looking for Richard.
Yeah, that film about Shakespeare's Richard III.
Yeah, it's a fascinating film, you know?
It really is.
It shows you how much he loves Shakespeare and how much he wanted to make it accessible to everyone.
Yeah, he really brought a passion to that project.
He did, yeah. So by the end of the 90s, I mean, he had it all, you know.
Critical acclaim, box office success.
The Oscar.
But he didn't stop there.
Oh, no. He kept going.
Kept working.
Yeah, all through the 2000s and beyond.
Yeah, like Insomnia.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one.
That was great with Christopher Nolan.
Playing that detective.
Yeah. Battling sleep deprivation.
And a lot of...
Investigating a murder.
Great movie.
Yeah, and then Angels in America.
Oh, yeah, the HBO miniseries.
Right, that adaptation of Tony Kushner's play.
That won the Pulitzer.
His performance as Roy Cohn was just incredible.
Oh, it was amazing.
He won an Emmy for that.
Yeah, showing he could do it all, you know?
Yeah, big screen, small screen.
You better.
And let's not forget his return to The Merchant of Venice.
Oh, yeah, first on stage and then in the film?
Yeah, playing Shylock.
Bringing this whole new perspective to the character, you know?
It's interesting how he revisited that role years later.
Yeah, like he found new depths in it.
Right, he grew as an actor.
Yeah, and in more recent years, he's worked with Tarantino.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah, Scorsese.
The Irishman.
Yeah, these amazing directors.
I mean, he's still pushing those creative boundaries.
He is, and those are significant films. You know,
Yeah.
They really solidify his place as an icon.
Yeah, he's still taking on these challenging roles.
He is, yeah, and collaborating with these visionary directors.
And still captivating audiences.
Absolutely, yeah. What's amazing is his commitment, you know?
Yeah, his dedication to his craft.
He could have easily taken the easy route, you know?
Right, just done those comfortable roles.
Yeah, the predictable stuff.
Yeah, but he's always chosen projects
That challenged him.
yeah, that pushed him outside of his comfort zone.
He's never been afraid to take risks, you know?
Right, explore those darker sides of human nature.
Yeah, portray characters that are flawed, complex,
Yeah.
but compelling. That's what makes him so captivating.
It's been an incredible journey,
How about it?
exploring his life and career.
From the South Bronx to Hollywood stardom?
Yeah, and he's stayed true to himself.
He has. He's left a real mark on film and theater.
And his story isn't over yet.
That's the exciting part. Who knows what he'll do next?
It's really amazing to think about, so thank you for joining us for this deep dive
Yeah, it's been fun.
into the world of Al Pacino.
A true legend.
We'll see you next time for another fascinating exploration.